I'd like to call this meeting to order, the Township Council, East Brunswick Township Council Agenda Action Meeting of May 9th, 2022. Would everyone please stand for a moment of silence? And, stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence thereafter. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please take your seat. Ms. Luffel, will you please call the roll?
Councilman Bahal?
Here.
Councilman McAvoy?
Here.
Councilwoman Sullivan?
Here.
Councilwoman Zembicki? Here. Council President Wendell?
Here.
Also present, Mayor Brad Cohen?
Here.
Administrator Joseph Criscullo?
Here.
And Township Attorney Michael Baker.
Here.
Thank you all.
Would you please read the statement?
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required under Chapter 231 PL 1975 by specifying the time, date, location, and to the extent known, the agenda, by posting a copy on the bulletin board located in the main lobby of the East Brunswick Municipal Building, providing a copy to the Home News Tribune and Centennial newspapers, posting a copy on the Township's website, and by filing a copy in the office of the Township Clerk, which will be entered into the minutes.
Thank you. Our first order of business tonight is Resolution 17388, a resolution adopting meeting minutes from April 25th, 2022. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Council Vice President.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Bahal. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilman Bahal?
Yes.
Councilman McAvoy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sullivan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zembicki?
Yes.
And Council President Wendell?
Yes. We have a number of proclamations on for tonight. We're going to start out with the mayor presenting a certificate of appreciation.
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to ask my friend Jaden to come up front with me. Okay. A couple of days ago, I was lucky enough to get a letter that was written by you, Jaden, right? That's you. And is it okay if I read the letter to everybody?
Mayor, can you grab the mic from the podium?
The mic, so people at home can hear.
So it's okay if I read the letter to everybody? So it says, Dear Mayor Cohen, my name is Jaden. I'm in the first grade at Irwin, and the walking light is broken at Summerhill Road, and it's dangerous to cross. Can you fix it, please? Thank you for reading this, the Engel family. And I had to say, wow, I was kind of amazed that somebody so little, so young, so energetic, so involved, really wanted to do something to help his community. And I figured that instead of writing you a letter, I was going to come and visit you. But unfortunately, you weren't home. And Mom was nice enough to take a picture to prove that I was actually there. And next thing you know, overnight it became a Facebook sensation because everybody was talking about the fact that you took this upon yourself to try to make a change for your community. And that is an honorable thing to do. And it's something that we respect as leaders. You should know that the boss in this room, the bosses, are not the people that sit at this table. The bosses in this room are the people that sit out there. And that's because none of us are here unless we have your support. And our goal is to make sure that we respond to those that live here. And the things that matter to most people are, by and large, the things that you deal with every day. It's not the big issues that people make a big deal about when you turn the news on. The big issues for people that live here in town are your streets and your community and your schools and the things that really matter to you on a day-to-day basis, not all the kookiness that we hear on television. And I know that you have in you the ability to give back to your community because I know a little bit about your family. Your mom's a teacher, and your grandma is a labor, well, me and Gigi used to work on labor and delivery at St. Peter's together, so between the two of us, I think we brought into the world close to thousands of babies together. And more recently, we were working together in the community at the Community Arts Center when we were giving out COVID shots for those that were lucky enough to get in the lottery. Those of you about a year ago remember it was almost a lottery to get your COVID shot. It's hard to believe a year's gone by. So I know that you have it in your genes to give back to the community because that's what your family believes in. They believe in service. And we're hoping that by giving you this letter of appreciation for your contributing to the township and trying to make it better, that you will continue to do that. And someday, I'm certain that I'll be sitting out there and you'll be sitting right up there. What do you think? You like that idea? So this is for you, Jaden. It's a letter of appreciation. Thank you for keeping the residents of East Brunswick safe and for being a positive role model for our community. And if you want, for as long as the meeting is you'd like, we'll put a chair up there and you're allowed to sit with me for as long as you want. I'm sure you have homework, though. You don't have homework? Well, bedtime. All right. Yeah, well, so do I. Very good.
Mr. Mayor, did they want to do a picture with
Sure.
the mayor and the council? Would you like to? We want to step down there? We'll
You
all...
want to step down there, you want them to step up here?
Oh, no, you know what? If he wants to sit right here,
Yeah, let him be council
sit
president.
right here.
You go over here. Dave, you go over here.
Come on, sit up there.
Might have to, I was going to say, some books, I'm saying.
Sit on the code books.
Put that down.
You want to hold this?
There you go. Put the gavel in. You can bang the gavel if you want.
Ready, 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jade.
Mom, do we have
Favorite kind of
permission
day.
to-
Yes. Next, we have a proclamation recognizing the 53rd Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week. Oh, sorry. Next, we have a proclamation recognizing the 53rd Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week, May 1st to May 7th, 2022. Councilwoman Sullivan?
We're going to sit right here. Oh, we can get up. 53rd Annual Professional Municipal Clerk Week, May 1st through May 7th, 2022. Whereas the Office of Municipal Clerk, a time-honored and a vital part of the local government, exists throughout the world, and whereas the Office of Municipal Clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels. They also serve the information center on functions of local government and community. And whereas municipal clerks are pledged to ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. And whereas municipal clerks continually to strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the Office of the Municipal Clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international profession organizations. And whereas it is most important that we recognize the accomplishments of the Office of the Municipal Clerk. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Brad J. Cohen, Mayor of the Township of East Brunswick, do hereby recognize the week of May 1st through May 7th, 2022, as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our municipal clerk, Tamara Lawful, and to all the municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent. Given under the hand of the Great Seal of the Township of East Brunswick on the 9th day of May in the year 2022. Congratulations.
Thank you for the acknowledgement. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for doing everything you do. It's unbelievable.
All right, next we have a proclamation that will be presented by Councilwoman Zimbicki, recognize the East Brunswick High School boys swim team.
The swim team could come up
Coach,
and
the
join.
boys, you can all get up and kind of gather around behind the podium.
All right, perfect.
Keep moving in, don't hide. No, come on up.
All right.
You can get them on TV.
Squeeze in.
Squeeze some, yeah. There you go. All right, East Brunswick Boys Swim Team 2021-2022. Whereas the East Brunswick High School Boys Swim Team finished the season with a final record of 7 wins and 2 losses. They qualified to compete in the sectional state championship for only the 2nd time in school history. The team also accomplished something never done in the history of the program. They won the GMC championship, beating their rivals who had won that title for 42 years in a row. Something to clap about. Whereas the East Brunswick High School boys swim team broke 5 team records, which makes them the best boys team in school history. Of the swimmers, 11 members finished as all Red Division, and 8 of those members finished as all Middlesex County. Lastly, 2 individual swimmers and 2 relays qualified to compete at the NJSIAA Meet of Champions, which features the best high school swimmers in the state. And whereas this type of competition provides an opportunity for our youth to learn and enjoy the meaning of team spirit and the value of hard work and dedication. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that Brad J. Cohen, Mayor of the Township of East Brunswick, congratulates the East Brunswick High School boys swim team and their coach, Sean Carney, and we also have Mr. Russo here, on their achievements and commend them for exhibiting qualities of hard work, perseverance, self-sacrifice throughout the season. The team members that we're congratulating today are Jonathan Chen, James Cregan, Justin Dumas, Dylan Newton, Ram Padu, Miles Melee, Arthov Shalar, Christopher Tanujeya, Edison Wang, Constantine, high practice too, Haruski, Keith Wong, Austin Ng, Alan Yu, Kevin May, Daniel Newton, Kaiwan Zhou, Sean Chen, Vishva Jarash, okay, Matt Bersani, Alexander Benowitz, Benjamin Furry, Dylan Ng, Peter O'Brien, Felix Wu, Sunny Bacharara, and Eric Zhu. Congratulations on behalf of the mayor and the town. I don't know if the coaches want to say anything.
Thank you so much. On behalf of the team, I'd like to express our gratitude and thanks for this recognition. The East Brunswick boys swimming team has earned itself many accomplishments over the past few years that has culminated in 2022 as our best season yet. The boys you see here today are fully committed to the sport and their school. This is a group that works hard all season, every year, and gives so much of their time and effort to this program. Since we don't have our own home pool to swim in, they get home fairly late after competing, but still always show up the next day to do it all over again. Again, thank you for this recognition, and I'm sure we will be back here soon as we reach new milestones in the coming years. Thank you again.
Is any of the moms want to take a picture before they leave? Come over.
Why don't they just line up front
everybody
here?
in the row.
Yeah.
Oh, they do it that way?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Can't sit in the chair.
It's not enough chairs to go around.
No.
Stand up or?
What do you think? Still not gonna help me.
Stand up.
Stand up? I am. Oh, good, yeah. I'll stand.
So I think we can stand
They
there.
put the short guy in the middle. That's great. Shorties.
You guys might want to go in the front.
No, I'm good right here. It's fine.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm totally good.
Agreed.
Thank you.
We'll take a little 2-minute recess so that you guys can all file out if you want to leave. We'll get started up again. We live or? Yep. Okay. Next, we have a proclamation recognizing National Water Safety Month. Vice President McAvoy is going to read that.
Thank you, Council President. Proclamation National Water Safety Month. Whereas the Township of East Brunswick recognizes the vital role that swimming and aquatic-related activities relate to good physical and mental health and enhance the quality of life for all people. And whereas education regarding the topic of water safety plays in preventing drownings and recreational water-related injuries. And whereas contributions by the recreational water industry, as represented by the organizations in the National Water Safety Month Coalition, include developing safe swimming facilities, aquatic programs, home pools and spas, and related activities, providing healthy places to learn and grow, build self-esteem, confidence, and a sense of self-worth, all which contribute to the quality of life in our community. And whereas it is important to recognize the ongoing efforts and commitments to educate the public on pool and spa safety issues and initiatives by the pool, spa, water park, recreation and parks industries. And whereas it is vitally important to communicate water safety rules and programs to families and individuals of all ages, whether owners of private pools, users of public swimming facilities, or visitors to water parks. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Brad Cohen, Mayor of the Township of East Brunswick, along with the Township Council, do hereby declare the month of May as National Water Safety Month, and do urge the residents of East Brunswick to support and promote this observance. Signed, under my hand and the Great Seal of the Township of East Brunswick, this, the 9th day of May in the year of 2022. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is item that I wanted to put on the agenda is discussion in regard to the fireworks display that was at the Orchard Park, the Chateau on Saturday night. We spent many, many months, and Mr. Baker, you spent many, many hours putting together an ordinance for private fireworks displays, and we thought we had everything covered. And I just happened to be at the Orchard Park restaurant on Saturday night, and there happened to be a fireworks display. So we got up from our chairs and we went outside to watch the fireworks display. And I'll tell you what, it really bothered the heck out of me because it was not what we had thought that we did up here. It was noisy. It was, extremely loud. Some of the loudest fireworks I've ever seen. Don't get me wrong. It was a beautiful fireworks display, but it was not at all what I expected. I immediately had gotten an email from Councilwoman Sullivan, and we started discussing it with Mr. Baker, and I'd like to have a discussion on this because, you know, from what I remember we talked about pretty much silent fireworks, and that there was penalties involved. And I immediately urged for a penalty. Mr. Baker kind of pushed me back on that. I'm still not off of it, but I think we had enough people up there to understand what it is was going on, and that could testify between myself, Councilwoman Sullivan, hearing it all the way at her house on the other side of town. We had 2 police officers stationed up there. We had many, many firemen. And I'm sure if you peruse Facebook, you'll find a bunch of videos. So I want to have a discussion as to what it is happened. Did they ignore us? Do we need to tighten up our ordinance? Did they misrepresent to us what it is that we put in our last ordinance? So I just think it's worthwhile for the township, the residents, and everyone to know that we're not happy up here as to what went on. And we need to figure out how or what went wrong and how we get to an ordinance or something that is more restrictive, that cuts out the sound levels. I mean, because I know it's very, very difficult for people. And the other thing we want to discuss is the Civic Ready announcement that goes out and what happened there, because we did see a lot of people had issues with not getting notified, and there is a process for that, but which I had learned since. And I'd like to have this kind of discussion on this so that we all understand what's going on and how if this did violate the ordinance, let's do the research, figure out what evidence we need, and issue the summons. If our ordinance needs to be tweaked, I'd like to see something in 2 weeks that tweaks the ordinance and we put another ordinance on. That's my opinion. I will now open it up. I ideally like to go to Mr. Baker first and
Happy
have,
to.
you know, some representation as to where we're at and what we've come up with on this since.
Absolutely, Councilman. And as you know, I live nearby, next neighborhood over from the Park Chateau. And it certainly was loud. I agree with you. It was louder than I recalled. It was at least as loud as in the past. And it certainly was not what was represented to us by the vendor, that it wouldn't be silent, but it wouldn't be annoyingly loud. And I have to tell you, that was annoyingly loud. I spoke to the fireworks vendor twice, one the day after the fireworks. He swore up and down that he did not violate it. There were no salutes. He was there personally. I challenged him on it, told him it was, I was there too, and others were there, and it was loud. I requested that he provide technical data sheets on the different fireworks that were used that night, with an inventory of what was used, the decibel levels, and how they compare to the fireworks type that was banned, which is the salute. I also requested, once we have that and analyze that we're going to need a demonstration of the various firework types so that we can determine what we are comfortable with, because I don't think anybody was comfortable with the level of fireworks. If we have to amend the ordinance, we'll have to amend the ordinance. I spoke to him again today, because I knew we were going to have this discussion. He's going to get me that data within the next couple of weeks. He also is working on a different type of firework acquisition that would be far quieter. He doesn't have it in hand yet. He has the same supply issues that everybody else is running into. But he promised that he's working on that and that he will get us the materials and he will do a demonstration. In the meantime, I told him that it was likely that I would recommend to the council that we not issue any additional fireworks permits until the issue is resolved and we've either gotten a firework that we can live with or have amended the ordinance to address it, because what happened 2 Saturdays ago or Saturday ago was certainly not what we had bargained for.
No. And to that point, you're asking for all of the materials he used. Can you get him to do a comparison to our 4th of July fireworks? He's the same vendor, right?
Yes, yeah.
So what he did for us
Yeah.
last 4th of July to what he did last night in, you know, I mean, this is, you know, asking the guy who violated the ordinance potentially to provide you all the information on
Yeah.
that. But
There'll be industry technical data sheets. He doesn't make the fireworks, he buys them, so they'll be from the manufacturer.
Right. And before I open it up to questions, Mr. Mayor or Joe, can we talk about the Civic Ready and what went on there as to?
Sure. I've been working with the chief of police on this. I know he reached out to some of the council people regarding what happened. There's a group under Civic Ready called Fireworks.
Just to go a little further, there were people complaining that they didn't get notified.
Right.
And, you know, I want
Yeah, that was one.
to, you know, I want to get an understanding, you have to go in and ask for that. I don't think that's correct, but
Like
that's,
next
You do.
to even have, just
Yeah.
explain to that.
but
just
Explain what it is first,
go into
yeah.
it and then.
Civic Ready is our alert system on various things. It's used by the Recreation Department, Water Department, the Township to get information out, and people can decide what groups they want to be placed into. So in this particular case, there's a group called Fireworks. You just have to check off you want fireworks. You can go in there, you can check off emergency alerts, you could check off recreation alerts, water department, sewer department, various other departments in there, as these are the notifications you like to receive. And people tend to like that because if they continue to get a lot of alerts, then they start to ignore them, you know. If you don't have anybody involved with recreation, you don't want the recreation alerts, you know, saying that, you know, the park is closed for the night because it's raining or lightning or Crystal Springs, various other things. So you opt into which alerts you would like to have. So what we believe happened, and we checked, is that there's not a lot of people in the fireworks group. That's first of all. And second of all, they send it out in a geographic range or a geo map, area map. They can go into the software. There's a picture of the town, and you can literally draw on there and say, everybody within this geo map, we want the alert to go to. And that's very handy when we have, let's say, a water main break on Road X. Well, we don't want to send it out to everybody in the town. We want to concentrate on the people that live in that particular area. So the issue, I don't know if there was a geo map on that night or not. I'm more inclined to think there wasn't. But there's not a lot of people in the fireworks group. So in talking with the chief of police, we decided over the next couple of weeks, we will do a campaign to at least let people know that are already enrolled in Civic Ready, that if they want to be in the fireworks group, that they then go in, opt into the fireworks group. And we do stress, we're going to stress too, to please put your address in there as well, in case at some point we use the geomap type function in there, at least we know what area of the town you're in. If you don't put an address in there, you won't get anything if we're requesting or sending things in the geomap area. So it's exclusive, not inclusive. So we're going to do that campaign. I talked to the chief several times in the last 2 weeks. I spoke to him today at about 2:30, again at like 4, again at like 6. So we're going to ramp up that campaign, and we highly encourage people to subscribe to Civic Ready. If you don't want to get the text, you can get an email, or you can get both. You can get it to those people that don't have text and don't have email. You can get a voice sent to your telephone. So there's many different options, but the chief is prepared to roll out that type of information to help ensure people enroll in Civic Ready. It's not like Nixle where everybody got everything. You have to opt in. So we're going to start working on that and rolling that out. And naturally, we do at all of our functions request that people enroll in Civic Ready.
Just one thing. Mike, just want to clarify. We're talking about the fireworks tonight, and we're upset about what happened on Saturday, but it wasn't a Chateau Grand issue. It was the vendor. They hire a vendor. That vendor is the permitted
Yeah, correct.
party.
It's not the hotel, it's not the restaurant.
Right.
It's the person who is having the wedding or the celebration, the individual person that contracts with the fireworks vendor. So it's not a deal between the fireworks vendor and the chateau or the restaurant. It's with
Just wanted to
the people
clarify.
throwing the party.
One thing I want to say about this, and it's totally off of the noise in the Civic Ready, but we're shooting these fireworks off in a different location than we typically shoot off our fireworks. And I think it's still too close to the Heavenly Farms fields, and if we're going to continue to do this, or allow this to occur, it should be back in the back of Diedrichson, just to where we've always shut off fireworks. It's further away from Heavenly Farms, the fields and everything else, and I think our debris problem would be mitigated if that was the case. You know, 4th of July, we never find fireworks debris on the fields at Heavenly Farms, and that's something that concerns me. When we're seeing debris fall on our, turf fields, there's nothing to say that a hot ember can't fall there. So,
Council President, good point. So that brings up a discussion with the third entity involved, which is the Fairgrounds Association, so we probably ought to have discussions.
don't we have
with-
an access
with-
agreement across
with-
that property to get into Diedrichson?
We do, but the firework company, the fairgrounds folks would have to say, fireworks company, okay, do it back at Diedrich. So it's 3 people.
That's fine.
It's perfectly doable. You obviously want to consult with the fire departments
Right.
and make sure that they're comfortable with that. But absolutely, we can work that into any
Great.
future resolution.
Thanks. Any other questions from anyone? Mr. Mayor, you want to go?
Just had a couple of comments. First, I think you need to decide whether you want to work with the vendor or you don't want to work with the vendor. If you want to work with the vendor, then I don't think the right approach is to give them a fine. It's to work with the vendor. If you have no intention of working with the vendor, if your plan is to do away with fireworks, then give them a fine and that'll be that. Find somebody else or just don't do fireworks. But I think if you're planning on working with them, it's kind of a slap in the face to say, I'm going to work with you, and by the way, here's your fine. Secondly, I think you need to establish a noise level. There's science to that. You could do it by decibels from a specific point. Clearly, it shouldn't, is it decibels where it's shut off? Is it decibels from the chateau? Is it decibels from, it's going to be all different. But there's science to it. You could establish a decibel level. And since the vast majority of people live, if they're doing it in the fairgrounds, most people live a further distance than the chateau. That's probably the closest. So if you establish a decibel level from the chateau, the vast majority of people will have fireworks at a lower decibel level than that. So I think you just need to figure that out. That's a solvable problem. You have a ability at this table to decide if you're going to have fireworks or not. You could have no more. Anybody else who comes here needs your approval. So just don't give any until this is all resolved. And as far as the Civic Ready, the main reason that the police don't want Civic Ready going out to everybody is because for as many people that don't like fireworks, there's more that like it. And many people are going to end up going out to the streets or to the chateau or getting out on Cranberry Road and pulling off to watch the fireworks if everybody got notices, and the police feared that they're actually going to have a traffic problem and risk accidents by opening it up to everybody. So there is a reason that the police wanted people in this particular group. I think we need to respect their opinion on that, since that's who we rely on for public safety. So I think these are solvable problems, and you simply don't approve any more until they're resolved.
Agreed. Anyone else with questions, comments?
One more thing.
Oh, okay.
And the debris problem. As much as you complain about the debris problem, but our ordinance says that by the next morning, debris needs to be cleaned. By the next morning, the debris was cleaned. You may not be happy where it landed or that it wasn't cleaned to the next morning, but that's what the ordinance says. It's going to be difficult for them to clean it in the dark, and then you'll complain because they missed something. So I think that they had a certain time frame that they had to clean the debris by, and that was done. So I wouldn't
No, I wasn't
bring it up here as
complaining.
being,
I wasn't
you know,
complaining about that. I was just-
something that they didn't do.
No.
They followed, the only thing they didn't do is the noise issue, and that's a solvable problem.
Right. I don't disagree with you. Anyone, questions, comments?
I talked to the chief today, and he explained to me just pretty much what Mr. Criscola said, was that during Nixle, you definitely had every Nixle went out to everybody. Now what they're trying to do is they're trying to regionalize it and sectionalize it to make it easier for the residents. The only thing I have is I want to make sure, because the original reason why I brought up the fireworks noise originally was because some special needs parents came to me and said it takes their children about 3 hours after fireworks just to calm down. So if they knew about it, then they would be able to prepare them, either take them out or prepare them. And I think that's really important. And also, right across the street, or right next door to the chateau, there's a memory care and assisted living. I mean, I know there's only 100 people in there, but they could hear it as well.
Sure.
So just something to think of, and I'm not here.
the group.
But-
get all invited to join.
Right, but I just want to make sure they don't geographically leave those people out. If you join the group, will everybody be?
If you're in the
If
fireworks
you're in
group-
the fireworks group, I want to make sure they don't.
Doesn't matter where you are, if you're in the fireworks group, you get notice. So there's two ways of notice. One is you're on the list and you get notice.
All right,
Okay.
all right,
The
I
other's
just want to make sure that
geographic.
happens in the future that way.
Actually, I think this is a great opportunity to get more people to sign up for,
Right.
in
The
general,
whole thing
to
is-
sign up for Civic Ready.
Be civic-minded, get civic ready.
And the plan is to send one out 3 days in advance, Council President. So 3 days in advance, and then closer to the time.
10
So-
minutes before.
Then 10 minutes before. The 3 days prior would be enough time for people to prepare,
Right.
especially if they were receiving these readies by email.
I mean, the 15 minutes before,
That's kind of like,
That-
hey, they're coming.
Right.
That 3 days before is the notice.
the 3 days before is probably more important for
Right.
the population I'm looking at. Okay, thank you.
Any other council comments on this item? All right. Yes,
Yeah,
Councilman Bahal.
I like what Mayor Cohen ssaid and suggested that we should not issue any more permit until unless the noise issue is not resolved.
Certainly.
And we should
I agree with
certainly
that.
issue a warning to the vendor, strict warning, not fine.
So, I mean, takeaways from this are, Mr. Baker, you're going to work with the vendor, you're going to set up some kind of display, you're also going to get the information from the vendor about what went on Saturday night versus what went on 4th of July. And then we're going to tweak our ordinance if need be. I mean, if he totally ignored our ordinance and, you know, then we're going to have a serious sit-down with him, but, and we're going to set up some kind of display.
Yes,
Okay, great. So just keep us posted on the timeframes for that.
I will.
Thank you. All right, since we have no ordinance for a second hearing tonight, we're going to move on to the mayor's report.
Thank you, Council President. Just a couple things. We are deep into the construction season and paving for the roads here in East Brunswick, so many of you have probably had to deal with some of the detours that you're being asked to make. That's actually a good thing. That means that roads are actually being done. We've gotten dedicated approximately $2 million this year for township roads. We've got a grant from the TTF, Transportation Trust Fund, that's going to be doing Fern Road. That will start just as soon as school is out. And so I think that some of the bigger problems you could see we're slowly getting to. We also are really happy to announce, I don't want to steal the thunder from the council president, but we are making some major progress on the redevelopment projects that are going on here in town. Many of you have probably driven by 110 Tice's or the old Wonder Bread factory. You could see a lot of that is already starting to go up, one of the main buildings in front, some of the apartments in the back, the townhouses. The clubhouse is already, the foundation's been laid for that, and they've cleared land in the back of the property that's been dedicated to the township towards the future ice rink. That land has been cleared as part of our contract and give back from the developer. So it's really starting to move along nicely. The properties on Route 18, following the determination from the judge overwhelmingly in the town's favor that we have the right to move ahead with our development projects on Route 18. We've now gotten a contract with the developer and the owner of where the old Gap and Wiz used to be, which arguably is the worst piece of property out there in terms of its condition. That deal will close by the end of June, and folks should expect to see demolition this summer. And the plans for that development, that project that's going to go on that site, will be before the planning board this summer as well. So that we're working our hardest to make sure that you actually start to see something come out of the ground there either the end of this year or certainly by this time next year, which is really exciting. So those are the two big things I wanted to talk about tonight, Council President. Thank you.
Mr. Criscuolo?
Yes, sir. I have a couple items that are on the consent agenda. Just wanted to reiterate, last meeting we talked a lot about the DEP and PSE&G have a lot of grants for electric charging stations at various locations, and we're going to continue to apply for as many as we can. Naturally, if we get one of them, it will cancel out another. You can't get both of them for the same location. But we're going to continue to keep making applications for these electric charging stations. I think, our dependency on gasoline and oil and so on, I think more people will be buying electric vehicles, and I think the state has made a commitment to these grants. So you'll see a couple of other resolutions on this agenda to allow us to apply for them and support from this council. Also on this agenda tonight, Resolution 17390 is the resolution authorizing award of a contract to a dock company, and this is to help us in the continuation of improving Beaver Dam Park. There's a particular area in the park that goes over a wet area, and as the water rises, this dock will rise up, and as the water goes down, the dock will go down, and it will enable permanent accessibility to the complete trail around that body of water. It's approved, it's ADA accessible, and so on. So this enables us to continue on with the improvements that we made last year in Beaver Dam Park, just to continue on in making the improvements there to make it a full-fledged walking trail for viewing of nature and so on. The third item I wanted to go over is the very next resolution on the agenda where I declared an emergency. That was on Main Street or Bordentown as you come out of Sayreville. We were replacing the water line over there. And as a lot of residents know, there's been a detour for 6, 7, 8 weeks, and it's pushing vehicles and even trucks up Sunburst. We ask the residents to please be patient with us until that project is done. That's a very important upgrade to that particular system. When they were out there making their final connections to the new lines, they found situations where there was lead goosenecks in the service lines, and there was in the metals, galvanized metal that was there from back in the day when those places were getting water service. We're required by law now to, if we see that problem, we must take immediate action to remedy that problem. And so there'll be 8 to 10 services along that particular roadway that now have to be upgraded and removing of anything that potentially has lead in it. The service line will go from the main to the house, and that's required under the DEP law. So we're in the middle of that process. I declared the emergency because of state rules. It is an emergency, and so that resolution is just to memorialize the declared emergency to do those lines up to the house. We believe that we can get those done in the next 2 weeks, and then eventually Middlesex County, like they're doing over here, is paving Riders Lane right now from Dunham's Corner to Cranberry. They milled a big section today. They will do another section tomorrow, hopefully cleaning up by Wednesday over near Cranberry. When they get done there, they're going to allow those properties to settle. We're going to compact it, make sure it's tight, and then the county's going to come back and pave from the Sayreville border to Old Stage Road, and then a little bit further on the Main Street side as well, coming from Spotswood. So that's the plan, and we'd like to thank the county for their cooperation, because they were going to go in and pave that in the fall. We, knowing that we were replacing that particular pipe, they were willing to hold off, and they've been true partners in this project, and I'd like to personally thank them, Dan Losak and Keith Kipp, for staying on the project and making sure the residents get clean, fresh water that meets the guidelines. That's all I have for tonight, Mr. President.
That's all being paid by the water utility?
It's paid for by the
funds, correct?
water utility. That's correct, sir.
Mr. Baker?
Thank you, Council President. Two things tonight. One is a number of the council members and the administration have received complaints and concerns from residents about panhandling along Route 18, particularly in the Tices Lane, Route 18 intersection area. And the question usually is, why aren't you doing anything? Why can't you get rid of these folks? And I would say, not trying to be funny, if it were that easy, there would be no panhandlers in any town around the country. It's not that easy. The Supreme Court of the United States, as early as the 1970s through most recently 2018, has said panhandling is protected speech under the First Amendment. If you think about it, First Amendment prohibits government from regulating the content of speech. And if the content of speech is, can I have some money, you're not able to regulate it. The Supreme Court has also said, and the federal courts have also said, I think as recently as 2018, that public areas and public rights-of-way hold a special place in our country and under our Constitution for the public to be able to express themselves. And as strange as it might be for us to equate, I want to have affordable housing, I want to have health care, I would like some money. Those are all protected speech under the First Amendment. So we can't pass an ordinance that outlaws it or restricts it, but there are things that can be done. And the first thing is residents and folks who are driving by, if you don't give money to the panhandlers, they're not going to stick around long. They're there to get money, to make money, and if they're not making money, they're going to move someplace else. That's the first thing. The other is people are not allowed to obstruct traffic in the highway, and that can be enforced under Title 39, which is the motor vehicle regulations of the state, and we're working with the police department on that, but there's no magic bullet. It's a partnership between the police department, making sure that traffic in the roads is not being impeded, and residents who, in the kindness of their heart, would like to help someone who appears to be homeless or panhandling by giving them money. We'd ask that if you want them not to be there, don't give them the money, and likely they will move on. The second thing, council members, is Resolution 17399. You might be asking, why are we terminating the contract for the food vendor at Crystal Springs 3 weeks before the season opens? And it's an unfortunate circumstance. The owner of the company passed away. We've spoken with his wife and his family. They are not able to and not in the position to be able to continue on with the contract. So they are fine with us canceling it. We already have an RFQ out on the street for a vendor. We're hoping that the next council meeting, we'll be able to have the council approve a vendor for the site and hopefully make it in the nick of time for the Memorial Day opening.
Thank you. My concern with the panhandling is more a public safety issue than anything else. When I was up on 18 Edgeboro Road and I see people walking all the way out to the left lane of traffic when at a red light, and who knows, do they get caught out there and when light changes? And
that's clearly not permitted.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest concern. Ms. Lawful, any report?
Yes, sir. So at the last council meeting, I reported that Saturday, April 23rd, was the commencement of mail-in ballots. If you have received your mail-in ballot, like I have, you can submit your mail-in ballot through the U.S. Postal Service. You can also drop it off at the Board of Elections, located at 11 Kennedy Boulevard, and you can conveniently drop it off at the drop box located within the municipal complex, which is by the municipal court and police station near the parking lot. Also, if you're not registered to vote, May 17th will be the last day to do so. The Middlesex County Clerk's office will be open until 9 p.m. to accept applications from anyone who is interested in registering to vote. Once again, that address is 11 Kennedy Boulevard in East Brunswick. And the final item that I have to report tonight is that early voting will begin at the Community Arts Center on Friday, June 3rd, Saturday, June 4th, and Sunday, June 5th, for the primary election. All right, and that's all I have for tonight.
All right, we're going to move on to our council, well,
Oh, we're going to move on to the council?
council board reports. First thing I'm going to, just want to state for everyone is from, as chair of the redevelopment agency, as you heard the mayor speak, we actually approved contracts to be signed for the purchase of the old Gap and Wiz Plaza. Those contracts, the way the developer will provide money to the town, the redevelopment agency. The redevelopment agency buys the property and immediately transfers title to the developer. That's going to happen on June 30th, thereabouts. Currently, all the due diligence and all the environmental investigation, everything is going on there now. And what you're going to see coming up soon thereafter, probably within the next week or so, the site will be fenced in and machines will start to be moved on site to prepare for demolition. We expect demolition to happen on that site no later than July 15th, maybe July 30th. But it's happening. It's been a long road, a lot of hard work. COVID didn't help, slowed us down probably for 2 years in the courts. But you're going to see a lot of good things happening there. And, moving on to our next, redevelopment has been a boon for this town. Our FedEx warehouse is going to be providing $700,000 worth of revenue compared to $78,000 before that. So it's going to be a real help, and that's why we're able to keep our tax rates pretty stable. And that's about all. On your agenda tonight, you're going to see a settlement agreement with Spivak. And that is same property owner that owned the Gap and Wiz Plaza, who was suing the town and the redevelopment agency. The agency signed their settlement agreement last week. Tonight, we're asking this council to approve execution of that settlement agreement as well. And so then there's no outstanding litigation. Tax appeals have been settled, and everything is done on that property, and we're going to start moving forward. So that's all I have from redevelopment agency. Any other council, committee, board reports, or just council reports?
I have some things.
Go ahead.
These are not necessarily council reports. First, I want to thank our town attorney. I want to thank our business administrator and our president, because when I reached out that Saturday night, and I have to admit, I was a little upset. to hear the fireworks and what was going on, but I didn't think I'd hear from anyone till Monday. But as a community, we always worry about our residents 24/7. Also, the Department of Recreation's having their golf outing on the 19th of May. And one thing, they're still looking for sponsors, so if anyone wants to be a sponsor, they could be a sponsor. But one thing I was so nice to see, that one of our big sponsors was someone who came to us via our redevelopment. FedEx Ground is the biggest sponsor.
That's great.
They're sponsoring a good portion of the golf outing. And the golf outing's going to support Daisy Recreation as well as other recreation activities in the town. Thank you.
All right. And Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes, just wanted to thank Mike Reisner and the Rec Department for a lovely Arbor Day celebration that we had on April 29th, honoring Mike and Kathy Spadafino, who have given decades of service to our community. Stop and Shop and the East Brunswick Women's Club donated trees to be planted. And if you look around, it's absolutely beautiful. They beautified the whole area outside the senior citizens complex. And the best part was our youth council was there doing it, right? They had their hands in the dirt, they were planting, they were picking up, they were cleaning. It was very, very, very wonderful to see. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Anyone else from council wishing to speak? Seeing none. Ms. Lawful, will you read the public meeting statement?
Will do, Council President. The public comment portion of our meeting is to allow the public to bring to the council's attention their concerns or comments. In accordance with NJSA 10:4-12A and the East Brunswick Rules of Council, the council asks the public to limit their comments to 5 minutes or less. Only one member of the public should approach to speak to council at a time. The council will respect the public's time by refraining from any comment until the speaker has finished with their allotted time. It should be further noted that public comment portion of our meeting is not structured as a question and answer session. At the conclusion of the statements or questions from a member of the public, the council president, at his discretion, may choose to respond or not respond, or to ask the administration to respond. If the questions require more detailed responses, the council president or administration may ask the member of the public to make an appointment with the appropriate township official during regular business hours. The township clerk will regulate the time during the comment portion of our meeting.
As such, we'll open the meeting to the public. Anyone from the public wishing to speak? Troy.
Troy Bailey, 16 Glen Court. Thank you again last week for the presentation and spending so much time to discuss that in a public manner. I did have some few comments, but I've been dealing with some back issues as of late, so I've been able to write those out. Thankfully, I've had something written about municipal broadband that I've been discussing previously. To clarify, municipal broadband is a general term that describes municipal policies relating to internet services, ranging from just generally studying existing needs and working with existing private partners, all the way to creating a public utility that owns and operates its own fiber and wireless network. Since the early 2000s, internet service has switched from a luxury to a necessity. COVID helped show the importance of a reliable, fast, and affordable internet service. Not only through remote work, but telehealth appointments, education, social needs, commercial, and many more. Municipal cable franchise agreements currently block additional development and fiber development in the state. So I want to state to the town council that municipal broadband is necessary for our township's future, and I implore the council to look into the topic and conduct a feasibility study to determine the steps the council could take on this matter. To provide examples, locally, Edison recently approved a feasibility study to determine what steps their township should take in this topic. On a state level, Bill A850 sponsored by Assemblyman Stanley, passed June 7, 2021, establishes a Broadband Access Study Commission to study broadband access and municipal broadband positives and negatives within a year of the first meeting. Sadly, the board still has not met, but the Board of Public Utilities has started to hire outside of the agency to fill the board back in January of this year. On a federal level, part of the infrastructure bill passed last year includes funds and wording that encourages municipal broadband development. While there are many examples of this being done on different scales, the largest I can find was Chattanooga, Tennessee. They started laying a fiber-to-door network in 2010. To simplify that, basically it's they're running fiber optic all the way to the consumer's end door. I wouldn't really suggest this for us because it's a lot more expensive, going more with the mesh network. Currently, they offer around 300 megabytes for about $58 a month, gig speed for about $68 a month, and 10 gig for commercial entities about $300 a month. While it did take, don't fall out of your chair, $220 million to deploy the nation's first fiber-to-home service over the 10 years, the return on investment through a study was around $2.69 billion during that same period. The fiber optic network directly supported the creation and retention of 9,516 jobs. 400% of all those jobs created in Hamilton County during that period. Chattanooga, to just lay out some differences, Chattanooga is a city of about 181,000 residents covering 143 square miles, while East Brunswick is a township of 49,000, only covering 2 square miles, so I believe our costs will be substantially lower. Additionally, as I stated before, with newer wireless technologies, I believe we can roll out similar services through fiber and wireless networks that can be upgraded to an all-fiber network as the utility funds itself and it's adopted. To inspire the town council to take action on this subject, I want to leave you with a quote from JFK. Those who came before us made certain that this country rode the first waves of the Industrial Revolution, the first waves of modern invention, and the first waves of nuclear power. And this generation does not intend to founder in the backwash of the coming age of space. We mean to be a part of it. We mean to lead it. And I encourage this town council to lead us into the internet age. Thank you.
Thanks, Troy. It's a very interesting subject. Now I'm going to approach Assemblyman Stanley on the research he's done on this. Anyone else from the public? Yes.
Alex Spielman, 6 Douglas. I just wanted to kind of push back on the topic that the Attorney Baker was bringing up when it came to panhandling, and that was the nation of them being in private areas. So, for example, I was harassed by a particular panhandle in a public location. I was going to Adelphia Wine, which is right across from Stop and Shop, and they were right by the doors of the liquor store. Now, this is the first time I've interacted with this particular individual. In fact, there have been multiple times with not just us, but others within private businesses in front of Aldi, in front of the 7-Eleven across the highway. Over by Brunswick Square, I've had issues with, not directly, but have seen panhandling within these areas, which I understand if they're on public roads and stuff like that, that is protected. But I'm wondering if it's, is that the problem that needs to be brought up with the proprietor of those properties, or is that something you have to bring up with the police itself? I'm not sure exactly where to go with that, but I thought I just brought that up because it's not just in public areas. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim, I actually just got another resident tell me tonight that they had run into someone at Aldi that kind of creeped up behind them and asked for money.
So that, it's a good question. The owners of private property can post no soliciting signs and can have those enforced.
Okay.
So private property can keep panhandlers off. It's public spaces where we're limited.
So your complaint should go to management of those properties. Anyone else from the public wishing to speak? Yes.
Hi, Shannon Christie, Dean Lane. So kind of on the same subject of like the panhandlers and everyone, the people on I've seen multiple people on East Brunswick, on Tice's and Riders. Mothers with children out there saying they don't need money for food. I've also seen children, like 16, 17, saying they are homeless. I've managed seasonal pop-up shops in East Brunswick, where I've worked with some children who, you know, are in their teenage ages, and they've gotten kicked out for a couple of days, and I know that they've been on the streets, and this is something they do. I'm wondering if there's something that you can do with social services, or are we, since it's becoming a problem, obviously now where, you know, residents are getting harassed, I don't know if they're coming in from wherever they're coming in from. I mean, is it gonna be something that we need shelters? Because, you know, this is just, I mean, it's not as of, like, maybe recently we've noticed it, but if you live here, I mean, there's even a guy on Arthur Street who walks around with a monkey, if you've seen him. He's great. If you guys ever get a chance, he comes up to your car with a monkey and does like a little puppet show. But if you have children in the car, and you know your doors aren't locked, it's scary. It's funny, but it's not what I grew up in East Brunswick with, people standing on corners trying to get money, coming up to your car, coming up to you walking out of a store, and as a single mother with a young child, it can be intimidating. And also, you know, with the mental health of these children, if they're getting kicked out and I see them sitting by Walmart with signs asking for money, even if they're going home, you know, if you make the call to the police, I don't want people getting in trouble because they need help. Is there going to be some type of community outreach to help these people if they are truly in need, that maybe we can implicate something so that they're not harassing us, that they know that they can go to a center where they can find food and something like that, maybe in town? I know there's like Aldersgate and stuff like that, but they have very limited hours and during the day, and maybe they can't get there. And I know we have all this redevelopment and stuff coming in for lower income families, and I'm not saying they might need help, but maybe we should start thinking about helping the community, because the community needs help. You don't stand on a corner and ask for money just because it's a Friday. You know, like, we need to think about the community, because obviously there's a large outcry, and we don't want anyone getting hurt. And like you said, they're walking in the street, and on Route 18, that's dangerous. And if somebody's walking out on the street to ask for money, they need help. So it's a lot of concerns for, you know, social services, mental health, drug addiction. There's a lot of things that's going on underneath that I think you need to address, because it's very scary to see. Because East Brunswick, I don't remember it like this, and I've lived here my whole life. So that's all. I just wanted to wonder if, you know, something was happening maybe with the police and everything, because I don't think they should be arrested for needing help. I know there's ordinances and all that, but if they can't pay for food, how are they going to pay for a ticket? And that puts them in a worse place mentally. So that's all.
Council President,
I was gonna-
Jimmy,
You done?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, let me go.
Yeah, I want to, you know, Joe educated me on this once before, but
Let Mr. Baker
let me-
go first, and
yeah.
then I'll,
Yes.
you know, if there's anything I want to add,
So-
Mr. Baker.
First thing I'll say, just correct a misstatement. We're not doing redevelopment for low-income housing. There is 20% moderate and low-income housing as part of the redevelopment. 80% is market rate housing. So the purpose of redevelopment is redevelopment, tax-based new housing, new places for people to go in town, reinvigorate in Route 18. Affordable housing is just part of that, and a small part of it. Second, we all know we live in a country that has a homelessness problem. a state that has a homeless, a county. These are things that need to be solved on a broad basis, a statewide basis, a county-wide basis. If we start funding and running programs here in East Brunswick, you'll probably have everybody coming and running to programs here in East Brunswick. It's not to be hard about it, but these programs are mainly being run out of the county and out of the state. They are underfunded because it's not a priority of most people. We only think of it when we see people on the street. But part of the program I'm working on with the police chief will be educating, talking to the panhandlers, providing them information and material and literature for the social services that are available to them from the county and from the state. The intention is not to be arresting people. The intention is to make sure that they're safe and that they know what social services are out there. And as you said, that's assuming that they really do need it and that this isn't just a side business.
Joe, anything to add?
Yeah, our community policing division is already pretty well versed in this. I know we're going to fine-tune it with the guidance of Mr. Baker. They're well aware of the state agencies and the county agencies that are prepared to help these people in times of need. Mr. Sergeant Cassidy's division is specialized in that particular area, and they will go to those particular sites and start to educate them, and our plan is to further enhance that as we move forward. But the community policing division is already heavily involved with that. They don't arrest them. They may bring them to the county or help them out with various different things, getting them to job work training, various other things. We have knowledge of in workforce development of positions that are available. If these people want to work, most of them will be successful in getting jobs. The Turnpike Rest Area, you know, they've employed several people in the short term over the last 6-7 months. That's just one example where right from inside of our own town, they could get a job pretty quickly. So Mr. Cassidy's, Patrolman Cassidy's task as part of that community policing division is actually to work on that. And once again, we're always evolving and tuning that to make it the best that we can.
Thank you. And the one thing I'll say, though, I mean, if you see an unsafe situation,
Call the police.
call the police. They're not going to know unless somebody lets them know. If you feel uncomfortable in a situation, call the police. If you're at a private property and you just don't like what's going on, talk to the owner or the manager of the store that you're going to. You know, if you want to help the problem, you need to understand exactly how much of the problem it is.
Also, there's the Mayor Cohen's Charity Fund, which was established 3 years ago, and you can go online and do a simple grant.
Your mic's on mute. Your mic's on mute.
Sorry about that. I started to say that I'm involved with the Mayor Cohen's Charity Fund, and that started 3 years ago. We're a nonprofit, and what we do is we accept grants. If you go on to Mayor Cohen's Charity Fund, there'll be a grant that you could apply for temporary. We don't have millions of dollars that we could keep adding on. We did do a gala a few years ago, and we have fundraised throughout. But if it's just a little bit of food, or if they need sneakers, or we've helped within the school, people have come and asked us. So don't be afraid to do that. Basically, the only people that will know that you're receiving it is the committee that decides how much money the people need.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wishing to speak? Yes, sir.
Council, everybody. Thomas Ingrasani, 58 Deerfield Road. Being on the subject about panhandlers and stuff like that, May 23rd, there could be like 15,000 illegals come into this country, okay? First question I would find out if these people are illegal citizens here, because that's a way of getting them deported. It's just a terrible thing what's happening. And I know Governor Murphy is allowing millions of dollars for illegal immigrants, okay? That's what I come up here for. The other thing I come up here for was those charging stations that you're gonna get a grant to put. Will you be charged for it? No pun intended, but will be a charge for it? To charge your car?
Yes.
There will be. So it's gonna be sub-metered, and the person pays for that. Okay, because it's about $3,500 to put one in your house, a charging system. And what else I had to say? I had something else in my mind, but, oh, East Brunswick Mall, every Sunday from 3 to 6, there's a classic car show. I don't know if you're aware of it, but I go there every week if I could. The people are great there. You used to see old cars with gas. And none of these electric type vehicles. But try to come out there, it's a fun day. They do have it, the same thing at the Home Depot on Friday nights from 6 to 9. So
Good to know.
I've been there going a couple of years. I had my own car club in Howell years ago. We did it for 20 years, and we had to give it up because Chick-fil-A, who sponsored us, became a corporate. So they don't want no more car shows on their property. And we used to donate to the food pantry every week. I think we got over $18,000 in that 20 years that we did it. So it's a good thing just to keep the classic cars going and just try to show up.
Sure.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wishing to speak? Yes, sir.
Arun Aigari, 20 Brook Hill Road. Have a concern, question, and a comment. I'll keep it quick. The concern I have is about the potholes on Harts Lane and potholes on deep potholes on Rath Lane, just by Rangers intersection. What makes the potholes on Harts Lane stand out is it's not just what started as a mild discomfort has ended up as a traffic safety hazard. What people are doing is, if you guys pay attention, the potholes on Harts Lane, they're by just before the East Brunswick Police Training Academy. So what happens is, to bypass the potholes, people temporarily go on the opposite lane for a few seconds, and then once they cross the potholes, they get back on their lane. Obviously, that's a traffic hazard, especially in the night. So I think Mayor Cohen answered my question already, so I'm going to ask the question anyway, that you guys were earmarked some funds for repairing the roads and things like that. If you guys could prioritize, I would appreciate if you prioritize that section of the road because it's creating a traffic hazard. That's my concern. My question is, I read the budget document, not all the 101-page document. I read just the 62 pages. My question is, the last year the budget was 70.05 million. This year was 74 million. Did you guys consider inflation as part of the numbers? If yes, what was the percentage you considered? I would be very curious to know that your inflation percentage consideration, how does it fare with the actual inflation, which is 8.5% in the nation? And the comment I have is, I would like to appreciate Councilperson McAvoy for not just bringing up the truck traffic issue on Cranberry Road, but also patiently explaining me over the phone the history behind the issue, because I shared the same concern as I forgot the name of the lady who brought it up last time. I shared the same concern. I've been traveling on that road for 15 years, and I share the same concern. So thank you very much for your time. And also, this is the month of May. This is the Military Appreciation Month, so I would appreciate if you all applaud for our brave military men and women. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Criscuolo, can you have someone look at those two roads tomorrow?
The email's already been sent.
Okay. Did you want to comment on the budget, Mr. Mayor, or Mr. Criscuolo? No? Okay. Anyone else from the public wishing to speak? Seeing none, I'll close the public portion. We have a couple of resolutions tonight requiring a separate vote. We have Resolution 17389, a resolution approving and authorizing execution of Sister City Partnership Memorandum of Understanding with the City of Ravine, Ukraine. Mr. Mayor, did you want to read this resolution?
Sure. I could read the resolution.
You know what? You don't have to.
Forget. No, I just wanted to educate the public on why we're doing this. I think we had mentioned previously that our interest was working with the country of Ukraine for the, try to help them with the crisis that they're going through right now. And one of the thoughts that had come up with Assemblyman Sterling Stanley was to try to connect in a way that allowed us to develop a sister city with a specific spot in Ukraine where we could then at least start by helping them get the type of aid that they need, but ultimately as they triumph in this conflict, that when we get to a day where we could move that sister city relationship to concentrate on areas where we can look to share in trade, where we could share in customs and education opportunities for our children, to share in art and cultural events and activities, and to try to establish a real relationship that is predicated on trust and cooperation. And I think that if you do that in lots of small ways, locality by locality, I think that it causes change to work its way from the bottom up as opposed to from the top down, that individuals have so much more in common. And I think we need to get our head out of the news and work with each other to try to make these relationships work. The city of Rivne is located in the northwestern portion of Ukraine. They themselves have several sister city relationships with different towns in Poland. Sterling Stanley got involved with this by working with his church, which is the Lighthouse Christian Church on Fresh Ponds, on Hardenberg, who have also been working with the Ukrainian church in South River. They needed a larger facility, and that then led to the cooperation amongst the churches and the connection with the assemblymen to try to bring this level of support to an even greater level and be something that we can continue to expand on once the conflict ends. So the memorandum of understanding that's in front of you talks about the history of the city of Rivne. It talks about the relationship that we're trying to create and what that would entail. And in order for us to do that, we need council approval. Once that's done, then we would have an actual signing with the mayor and council from Rivne. I don't think we're all flying out there, but we're going to do that by Zoom. So did you want me to read it? It's rather long, and it talks more about the history of the township, of the city, which is fascinating. And this is going to be a public document, so everybody is welcome to read it on their own. But it's exciting. We already have one with Jiaman, China. We're working on one right now with a city in Israel, and we're ultimately looking to, again, look for one in India, places where we have a similar population here in the township, where there would be natural overlap. So,
thank you.
Thank you.
For the explanation. Any discussion on this from council? All right, can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilwoman Sullivan. Can we get a second?
Second?
Second by Councilwoman Zambicki. Ms. Lawful, please call the roll.
Council President, Councilman Bahal,
Yes.
Councilman McAvoy.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sullivan,
Absolutely, yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki,
Yes.
and Council President Wendell.
Yes. Next, we have Resolution 17390.
We do have some visitors here today from the Ukrainian church in South River, and who have been working with the assemblyman to get this passed. So I was hoping, if it's okay, we can have the council
yes.
come up front and
We
take
talked
a
about
picture
this.
with them.
Yes.
And members of that church.
Do they want to come up?
Want us to go out front, or?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, I appreciate him getting on another. He knows that stuff.
Yeah, he knows it cold.
All right, now we'll get on to Resolution 17390. This is a resolution authorizing the award of a contract to Easy Docks Unlimited LLC for the purchase of a dock and gangway system with handrails under the Sourcewell National Cooperative Pricing System under contract number 010521-LTS-2 in the amount of $28,972.15. This is the bridge/dock that the business administrator spoke about for Beaver Dam Park. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Bahal. Second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Zambicki. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, Ms. Lawful, please call the roll.
Councilman Bahal?
Yes.
Councilman McAvoy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sullivan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President Wendell?
Yes.
Thank you, Council.
Next is Resolution 17391, a resolution authorizing an emergency contract with Pacific Construction LLC as per NJSA 40:11-6 in the amount not to exceed $67,500 to mitigate material composition in the water service line on Main Street. This is in regard to the lead goosenecks and services on those houses. Can we get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Zbicki. Second?
I'm sorry, who's second?
Councilman Bahal?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Lawful, please call the roll.
Councilman Bahal?
Yes.
Councilman McAvoy?
Yes.
And Councilwoman Sullivan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President Wendell?
All right, thank you. We're going to move on to our consent agenda. Just want to note that on here, just for the public, there is 2 submissions of grant applications to continue our good work in receiving grants, and there's actually 1 receipt of a grant on here. So continue to add to our list of grants that we receive, and thank you to all of our department heads and their departments for seeking out these grants and being pretty successful in approval. But is there anything on the consent agenda that anyone would like to have separated? Seeing none. Can I get a motion for Resolution 17392 through Resolution 17402 on our consent agenda?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilwoman Zambicki.
Second.
Thank you, Council Vice President McAvoy. Ms. Lawful, please call the roll.
Councilman Bahal?
Yes.
And Councilman McAvoy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sullivan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President Wendell?
Yes. All right, we move on to our ordinances, introduction of ordinances. These are scheduled for a public hearing date of May 23rd, 2022. Our first ordinance is Ordinance 22-13. It's a bond ordinance providing for various school capital improvements in and by the Township of East Brunswick and the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, pursuant to a shared services agreement within the East Brunswick Board of Education, appropriating $18 million therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $17,100,000 worth of bonds or notes of the Township to finance part of the cost thereof. This is just another example of good government. We do this primarily every year so that the school board and the taxpayers can take advantage of the fantastic bond rating that the township has and the low interest rates that we have, so that we go out and issue those bonds for the schools and they get them at our low rate.
And it doesn't cost the township any money to do this.
Correct. These are improvements that would have been needed anyway, and if the school board would go out to bond these or borrow for these, their interest rates would be much, much higher. Any discussion on this by anyone on council? Yes, Councilman McAvoy.
Thank you, Council President. All things being equal, I appreciate the words that Council President used. However, it's a ton of money. And I think the community needs to know that, where some of this money is being spent. And according to the way I understand the bond, it's a series of heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems. Exactly in what school, I do not know. Temporary classroom units. That may be the Churchill experience, I'm not sure, but just informing the community where this money is going. And money for the athletic complex. Long overdue are the 2 softball fields that are probably part of this package, as well as the work that's being done up on the track, as well as the field, J. Doyle Field. So a lot of money, well spent, and done in a governmental method where the taxpayer doesn't foot the bill. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Any other discussion on this? Can I get a motion to approve this ordinance?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilwoman Zabicki. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Sullivan. Please call the roll.
Councilman Bahal?
Yes.
Councilman McAvoy?
Yep.
Councilwoman Sullivan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President Wendell?
Yes. Next ordinance is ordinance 22-14, an ordinance of the Township of East Brunswick amending Chapter 3, Administration of Government, Section 117, Schedule of Fees for Police Services, Chapter 209, Vehicles and Traffic, Section 78, Traffic Directors, and adding Chapter 209, Vehicles and Traffic, Section 80, authorizing to employ off-duty officers, and Section 81, violations and penalties of the ordinances of the Township of East Brunswick.
Yeah, I'll do a shorter version than that. Sorry. A couple months ago, the township, along with hundreds of other townships, received a letter from PSE&G that said, we're still going to pay your special police when you're working our job sites, but we're not paying for the vendor that you use that schedules and coordinates all the work. So this ordinance says, yes, you will pay for the vendor that schedules and coordinates all of that work. So that's what you're doing here, making sure PSE&G is covering the town's costs.
Very much shorter than I
Saving the
anticipated.
residents money.
I anticipate Mr. Criscuolo would have been a little longer. Thank you.
Most towns in the state are doing this exact same
Right.
dance.
Any discussion from council on this? No? This will be on for a public hearing, as I said, May 23rd, 2022. Can I get a motion to approve ordinance 22-14?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilwoman
Second.
Sullivan. Thank you, Council Vice President McAvoy. Please call the roll.
Councilman Bahal?
Yes.
Councilman McAvoy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sullivan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President Wendell?
Yes.
Thank you, Council.
Anyone have anything for the good of the cause tonight? Go ahead, Councilwoman Zambicki.
Thank you. So, yes, this week, last week actually, was a week of many appreciations, and this week as well. We had Teacher Staff Appreciation Week. We had Bus Driver Appreciation Day. We had Nurses Appreciation Day. We had Child Nutrition Appreciation Day. And as our resident said, we also have Military Appreciation Week. So there's a lot to be grateful for in our community. And please, when you see somebody serving, when you see our drivers, our nurses, our child nutrition staff, our teachers, our support staff, please give them a heartfelt thank you for the work that they do. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Jim?
Yes.
I did. So usually you don't hear comments like this from your township attorney, but the settlement of the Zaycon litigation and the contracts to purchase the property, which is the former Gap Mall, is a big step forward for the community. I want to thank our two special counsel who worked on this. I sort of stepped back and supervised some, but David Lonsky, who's special counsel on the township side, and Ron Gordon, who's special counsel on the redevelopment agency side. I also want to thank the council president and our executive director, Mike Hughes, from the redevelopment agency. They were dealing with the day-to-day issues that were involved, and also a big thanks to the mayor for being the nudge, pusher in chief that kept everyone's nose to the grindstone to get this done.
Mike, I'd like to thank you as well.
Yeah.
You know, you were necessary within all of this. You were the quarterback on the attorney's side. And I will thank the mayor for pushing all of us and keeping us, he didn't always know what was actually going on. He just says, I don't see anything. Move it forward. So
That's the job of the mayor.
yes, and
Get it done.
as he always says, I'm a surgeon. I just like to cut things out and get done. He says, it doesn't normally take this long, and I'm not understanding why politics always takes this long. But to your point, Dave Lonsky and Ron Gordon were very instrumental, and, Mike Hughes, friend of mine, executive director, and was really, really the guy trying to keep everybody moving. So thanks for bringing that up. I appreciate that. Anyone else for the good of the cause? Seeing none, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second, do I get a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Good night.
Good night.